In today's video, we're going to get right into it. How to start your business while you are still working a 9-to-5 job. This is something that I did 7 years ago while I was at my sales job. This is something I've helped hundreds of other people do. There is a strategy to it. There's a couple things that go into it. We're going to jump into it right now. This comes after I've grown 6.5 million followers and collected 13.8 million cash. I own a social media business, a coaching business, consulting business, and a service business. And so I've done this a lot, and I've helped a lot of people build their brands and escape that. And there is a strategy, like I said. So the first thing is we're going to start with balance. There's a couple things. You could do it while you balance everything. And it's harder, right? Especially if you have a wife and kids, that sort of thing. There needs to be some boundaries that you set, is what I'm going to say. For me, when I did it, it was a little bit easier because I was 18, 19 years old, and I was working a car sales job. So for me, I didn't have to balance as much because I just lived at home with my parents, and I just bought groceries for myself, and I lifted, 3 times per week at the gym, and I made sure I was still healthy and at least as much as I could be. And from there, I just spent all my time on the business. So I was working probably about 10, 11 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week. And then those weekends are where you make up a ton of time. We can talk about that in the schedule. And then additionally, the mornings and the evenings, I didn't have any balance. I didn't see any friends. I would see my parents, I would see my sister, and then I would work. I would be at work at like the actual dealership, and then I would be in the office that I built in my parents' basement working, making this thing work. That was my balance. There was none. And you kind of got to be a little bit crazy, a little bit delusional to make this stuff happen. You have to set some boundaries, is what I'm going to say. You have to know that, like, if you're going to commit to this, you're going to commit to a second full-time job. People aren't going to understand it. And so the friends that you have that might have invited you out before, you say no a couple times because you're busy doing this, they might stop inviting you, right? And that's just a natural split. It's not cutting anything off, but you have to understand your boundaries. Like, is this the escape? People call it the escape from the matrix. Is this more important than hollow friendships? Is it? If it's not, okay, make sure you have a plan in there to maintain the friendships. Like, at least I'm going to see these people once a week. That's up to you, but you need to have that set out at the start of, like, what do you want out of this? Boundaries, another piece to add to this is goals. Like, what are your goals? And then realize if your goal is to build a $100 million company, you're going to be so busy doing that the entire time, you don't have time for other people. You just don't. So you need to get that out on your own and understand that. That's an important precedent to set. I'm not going to tell you guys one way or the other than the more you work on it, probably the faster it happens. Okay, so schedule. How do you balance things? The biggest thing is, what time do you go into work? Are you remote? Are you not remote? Do you have to commute? Those things obviously matter. Those things matter a lot. In terms of schedule, you need to find your blocks. Okay, so you are working 9 to 5. Cool, we got that. That's a block. We have a pre-block, we have a post-block, and then we probably have like the nighttime block. You should probably want to do this without losing sleep. I struggled with that. I look probably super tired all the time. I was probably sleeping 4 or 5, 6 hours a night on average, and I would catch up on the weekends. Ideally, you're getting your 8 hours a night so you can be functional and healthy and the whole thing. So we're going to assume that's 10 to 6. Okay, so we have that block. We now have a 6 to a 9, and we have a 5 to a 10. That is 8 hours. That is 8 extra hours. In there, we probably have a commute. Okay, potentially. We have family time, depending on your situation. We have friends. We have health. Okay, we have all of that in there. Now that's weekly, Saturday and Sunday. Okay, Saturday through Sunday, you have 6 to 10. You have 6 to 10 every day. What is that? 10 hours, 6 hours. You have 16 hours. You have 16 hours a day on the weekends. You do that, that's 32. Each day you have 8 times 5. So what do you got? 40, 32. You got 72 hours to work with. Out of those 72 hours, You have 32 hours that you can use for friends and family and gym. The other 40 need to go towards the business. That's still balance. And if you're crazy like me, you can take all 72 and you can put it towards maybe a little bit of gym, a little bit of health, and the rest on the business. So it's up to you. But you have 72 hours per week to play with. And I'm telling you right now that if you use 32 on friends, family stuff, maintaining your life, which you probably don't even do right now, you're probably scrolling, probably being stupid with those hours, you still have 40 left to build. You still have 40 hours left to build. You have that morning block, the evening block, and you have the weekend block. For me, I always prefer the evening block because it's bigger and I have more time. In the mornings, I can prep my meals. I could even work out during that time. Sometimes I worked out after, but I like to bunch all that together. So the commute in the morning, you prep your meals, you work out in the morning, you're good for the day. You then get home, you have that 5-hour block to just grind every day. And 5 hours on a business every day is really good. Then you shower, you go to bed, whatever, but you already prepped your meal in the morning, so you're set. So that's important. And then on the weekends, just work the whole time. Catch up probably on sleep a little bit, maybe an extra hour, work out pretty hard, maybe see a friend or two here and there, but then I'm working 10 hours a day, both of those days, because that's what it takes. You like, if you're going to commit to this, you got to commit to this, put the time in, because it's a learning curve. And it starts like this. It starts real slow, and then it speeds up and you go exponential eventually, okay? Now, the building phase. The building phase is interesting, and the building phase has a lot to do with your schedule and when you're in it. The thing that I want you to realize is there's typically two types of people that are starting an online business. You either, one, already have skills, expertise, stuff like that. That's what we help a lot of people do that with their personal brands. Like, let's say at your job right now, you work in construction and you want to start your own construction business and teach people about construction on the internet and coach people. Okay? You already have all the expertise. You don't have to learn all that stuff. You just have to learn how to put it out there, which is what we help people with and what these videos help people with. So in that sense, your building's pretty easy because the things you have to learn are content, brand, that sort of thing. Sometimes other people in the other camp that aren't experts, that are new to stuff, have to learn a whole new business model. And it takes time, it takes effort, it takes a different level of sacrifice because there's a lot more hours that go into it. It takes you a while to, one, build a habit, and then two, become an expert. People say 10,000 hours or something like that to become an expert. I believe it. You probably need at least 1,000. And right now we're only working with 72 hours a week. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take many, many weeks. You can do it in less than a year to get to 1,000, but it's going to take many, many weeks. And so on that note, it's really, really important that you understand what you're going into. Like, if you're going to go in and build a brand based on expertise you have a fast track. If you're already fit and jacked and ripped and you want to build a brand around that, it's really easy. If you're not fit and jacked and ripped and you're like, I want to build a brand around fitness, you got to get fit and jacked and ripped first and learn how to do all that, and then you go build a brand around it. And that's stupid. Okay? So whatever business you're starting, and I'm obviously partial to building a brand, personal brand, stuff like that. That's why I'm using it as an example. Whatever it is that you're starting, you have to realize that it's going to take time. It's going to take building. And there's this period that I would call iteration. And that iteration is you try something, and this is the first thing you do, and then it doesn't work all that good, and then you do the second thing, and then over here, and then this is a new version of it, and then this is a new one, and then you get over here and you're on the 6th version, and it's kind of similar to the first one, but you went through all these different iterations, you learned so much through that process that you're now an expert at this. That's what you're going to have to do. It's a jump from here to here to here. It's a leapfrog back and forth as you gather knowledge and just pieces of expertise as you go to either building your brand or the business or whatever it is. You need to understand that it's a process. It's not going to work from day one. It's probably not going to work in 30 days. It's probably not going to work in 60 days. It probably will take you 6 to 12 months. That's just a reality. And it will take you even faster, or it will take you, a shorter amount of time if you work with somebody like me that offers, this transition sort of thing for people that want to build brands, personal brands, theme pages, as my business. And we help people execute on this and build specific exact plans for this stuff. Now, the transition period is interesting because it's kind of this leap that you have to take. At your job, you're getting the health insurance, you're getting the benefits, you got the 401k, all sorts of things. You have a lot of structure within that. But additionally, you're not getting your freedom. And you're going to reach this point where the income from your job is the same as the income from the business, job, biz. And we can say each are like, 6K a month and 6K a month. Okay? You're going to reach that point. And now you're making 12. And you're like, wow, this is awesome. But for this business to be sustainable and for you to not burn out and for this business to go on this linear and then exponential growth curve, okay, you're going to have to take the leap because the bottleneck at this point is your time. The bottleneck is your time. And that transition is interesting because you're going to get rid of benefits. You're going to get rid of your health insurance. You're going to get rid of these certain things to go full time on the business to get your time back. So instead of spending 72 hours a week, you're spending 100 hours a week on the business, or close to it, or like say 80. You get the idea. So in that sense, that's a tough decision that you have to make, but you need to be in a position where the business is sustainable enough. This block right here is sustainable enough for you to take the leap. And again, it depends on your situation. Like for me, it was easy to take the leap. I still had my parents. I could always go back to a job. Like I dropped out of college and I was like, look, if this doesn't work, I could always go back to college. And then it started to work. I was making money at the job. And then, when I started the business, I wanted to quit. I was like, I could always go back to the job or get a different job if I really wanted to. So it's worth it for me. If you have a family of kids, you really need to be in a solid position with income from the business before you go, or at least some level of cash stacked up. But I would say income, because that income, cash flow is way more important than having cash stacked up, because cash flow comes in every single month. It's a working machine. It's going to pay you the next month over and over and over again. And that is super, super, super important. So look, this is the transition. This is how you start a business while you have a 9-to-5. This is how you balance it. This is how you schedule it out. Scheduling is probably the most important. This is how you build it and realize that you're going to take multiple iterations, and it's not going to be anything like the corporate environment or the job environment that you're in, and that's okay. And then you're going to have to transition out of it, and that depends on your situation and the risks that you're willing to take. But you will have to transition if you want the business to survive long term, because eventually you'll burn out if you don't. So this is how to start a business and quit your 9-to-5 job the strategic way, the way that people don't often think about, with scheduling and balance and maintaining your health and relationships and friendships and all that sort of stuff. That's all I got for today. I appreciate you guys being here again. My name is Nick. I am the owner of Launch Socials. We make these videos to help you guys make more money on social media and start your business and be somebody big on the internet and in this world. I appreciate you being here. If you want more help, you want my one-on-one, you want to work with my team, we have two things. We have a resource below. You can grab that resource. It's absolutely free. It's a playbook that details our exact system. And then additionally, on top of that, you can apply if you want my one-on-one help. You want to work directly with me and the team. I would love to do that, especially if you're the right fit. If you're not the right fit, we'll tell you that you aren't. But the link for that is below. Hopefully, I see you inside of there, or at least in the playbook. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.